Okay, here we go again. Hopefully now I did it before, and when it showed it just like this, right? Like if you go over into your capture or whatever. This time it showed it like just the generic movie thingamajigger, and when I pressed on it, it kept on showing you saying something and just like flashing in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out.
Well, it says it's
It
live.
says it's live right now, yeah.
Are we or no?
Well, should I? I'll check. I guess we should check that first, right?
I'm looking at it right now.
It's live right now.
Are we or no? Yeah, we're live now. Yeah. Yeah, we're live right now, buddy.
Okay, well, let's just do it right from here. I'll have to cut that off or whatever. Or no, we'll do it again and we'll start it. But are we echoing or anything?
Hold on.
I'll have to cut that off or whatever. Or no, we'll do it again and we'll start it. But are we echoing or anything?
Hold on. I don't think we are, dude. It sounds good.
Okay, let's get her going, buddy. Or no, we'll do it again. But are we echoing?
Well, wait. It might be echoing now. Hold on.
Sounds good. Okay, let's get her going, buddy. Or no, we'll do it again. But are we echoing?
Well, wait. It might be echoing now. Hold on.
Okay, let's get her going. No, we are echoing. We're echoing.
Well, wait. Okay, so what you have to do is make sure that the only thing that's coming back is mic aux and the NDI source. Everything else should be red, turned off, or whatever.
Yeah, and then there was the other thing you showed me to do.
Right, so you click on the little gear
This way.
and go to advanced.
Yeah. How can I get rid of that little thing screen there so I can see that? This little screen. The stop streaming and stop recording screen.
No. Go into your audio sources.
I know that, but that little screen is in the way. How do I get rid of that screen?
Oh, I don't know. Click on it at the top and move it out of the way.
Okay. Get out of there. Okay, so okay. Okay, listen to it again.
So you got.
Okay, listen to it again.
I think we might be good now, man.
No, there's that little echo there again.
Yeah, but do you have it up on your screen? Do you have the live up on your screen? Turn it down.
I don't have it up on my screen. Like, what do you mean? The live?
Yeah.
I don't have it up on my screen. No. The live?
Dude, we sound good. You sound good, man. Yeah, see that? Yep. See, somebody says we sound good. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Oh, Lauren's on. Okay.
Thanks.
I hear an echo. How come you don't hear an echo? You don't.
We're good, man.
Okay. All right.
Hold on. Let's ask him. Do you hear an echo? I think we're good, man.
I think we're good now. I think we got her.
Yeah.
So do you want to restart this then?
No.
Okay. So we're just gonna go from here.
Yep. I'll just go from here. Yeah. Not really, but Steele's mic needs to be turned up a tiny bit.
Okay, you know what? I think I'll edit this in studio and I'll cut off everything we did here. So
Yeah.
I'll go 3,
Is
2,
that
1.
better?
Let me write down where we go here, where we actually start. 5, 5, 9 or whatever. Okay, that's better. So
yep, cool.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, boys and girls. It's when we feel like it o'clock. I'm Pearlo Wisdom, and you're listening to my NHL Pearls of Wisdom live, the Pearlo Wisdom Show, in conjunction with SteelFlyers.com. This is Steel right here, the creator of SteelFlyers.com, All Sports Network, one of the finest in the land, actually the finest all sports network in the land, growing every day. And we're going to be doing live shows like this, maybe 5 days a week, right, Steel? Maybe. We'll see how it goes. If you guys really start to enjoy this fine program, which I'm sure you will. Anyways, what we're going to be doing, I'll tell you what we're going to be doing now. We're going to be looking at games and the previous games from the night before, looking ahead to the games coming up, and some recent news that may have happened here in the last 24 hours. And on Mondays, we'll be doing the weekend review and all of that sort of thing like that. So we're doing games review. How did you watch a few of the games last night, Steel?
Ooh, boy. We interrupt this life to bring you the hockey season.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, so I had to say this to you, man, because I got a comment on one of the videos that we did the other day. A listener said that, man, Pearlo watches a divorce amount of hockey.
Divorce worthy, yes, I do.
Yes. And I have to say that we interrupt this relationship to bring you the hockey season.
Yes. Absolutely. Just so happens I am divorced twice, if you want. And I found one that the first thing I pretty much told her is, I'll just let you know this right out. I'm not even going to try to pretend otherwise. Yeah, exactly. There is another girl, but it won't actually be a person. It's a sport. And I love it. And that's the way it is. So last night, let's get right into it, shall we? I'm pretty excited about talking about those. Yes, fantastic games. So a lot of it was a lot of how we kind of projected they would be, at least the first game anyways. So let's get into it first. We'll go with the Capitals and the Sabres, and all the hype was about Taylor Hall and what Taylor Hall was going to be like. He didn't really disappoint last night, did he, Steele?
No, actually he didn't. He got his first point with the Buffalo Sabres. So, I mean, kudos to you, my man, for being able to come out onto the Buffalo Sabres and get your first point. So congratulations to that.
Yeah, and scored a goal right away. Looked good on that line with Olofsson and Eichel. Eichel should be feeling pretty good now to have a guy like him playing that kind of hockey. He hasn't had a guy with that kind of talent at all. Ever, yeah. And so Washington looked good as well. I have to admit, I was kind of in between games, and there were other games that I had some serious interest in. One that we'll talk about later, and I'll tell you why. But they ran up the score pretty quick. And the question with Washington and the Sabres a lot was their goaltending, and so far not so good. Still in the first game with.
No. Gosh, there were 10 goals in that game.
Yeah.
What goaltending?
Now, from what I saw, the defense wasn't playing all that great in front of him either. But
okay, yeah, you make that point. But yeah, the goaltending wasn't that great either. But yeah, I agree that the defense on both sides of the ice were very sloppy. But look, I think that's owing to the fact that this is the first game for everybody in a long time, and Buffalo really hasn't played since March.
Yeah.
Right? So the fact that they were able to come out and Tyler Hall get that first goal and come out like that, I think that says a lot about the coaching staff having that Buffalo team ready to come out and play a little bit, more so, I think, because they haven't played since March.
Yeah, and they do have two new people in their top six there, Buffalo, with Taylor Hall, we just spoke about, and Eric Stahl, who at the end of the third actually appears to have gotten injured. And that's going to be a huge loss for them if it's going to be at any extended time, because they really don't have all that much depth up the middle. Last night he played 14 minutes, 45 minutes for a 36-year-old. That's not too shabby. And then there was, if you remember him from the World Juniors, Mr. Cousins was playing last night for the Buffalo Sabres.
He's the ex-Philadelphia guy.
No, not that one. He played for the. He's a draft pick for the Buffalo Sabres. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, but he played at the World Juniors. Dylan Cousins, and he was lighting it up in the World Junior Championships for Canada. So he got his chance to play, made the lineup as a 19-year-old, and got an assist last night. Played 12 minutes of ice time on the third line with, I believe, Cody Eakin. And, I wanted to talk also with Jeff Skinner. I did happen to watch him a little bit because I'm trying to see how his rebound is going to be. Let me just say that there was not much bound in the re there. Last night, he looked terrible. Again, $9 million a year for Jeff Skinner to flounder around on the perimeter and hope the puck comes to him. Oh my gosh, that's got to be very difficult on an owner's eyes to watch that. Anyways, we had Carter Hutton in net. This was the big thing. Carter Hutton for Buffalo. Carter Hutton was in net for Buffalo. And the big thing was he was going to get something done with his eyes. Because he said he could. It turns out he wasn't able to see very well last year. Well,
okay.
You might want to go back. But it's only one game.
Had or done or whatever.
Yeah. It's interesting that they put Carter Hutton in first game because Linus Omark is probably the guy they're going to call their number one. But he hasn't played for a long time, so I'll give him a little rope for a while to see how he turns out. But
I mean, that's the thing about this game here. Buffalo being one of the teams that hasn't played since March. You know what I mean? So I wasn't really expecting, especially any of the other teams that haven't played since March. I'm not expecting them to come out and be, barn burners and be, up on their skates and, playing with the crisp passes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's going to take a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but it was good to see Buffalo come out and at least make a game of it.
Yes, that's true. That is true. Like I said, that line looked really good. And then the usual suspects for Washington looked good right out of the gate. And as you mentioned, stressed a lot, Washington didn't make huge changes either in their lineup, right? So this is basically the same team with a different coach and a better coach.
much.
With Washington with Laviolette, and they should be fairly happy. The Laviolette's probably going to let them run and gun a little more than most other coaches would. So they'll get, and they certainly seemed to do so last night. Oshie, Backstrom, Ovechkin, got a couple points and looked really good. One thing I would like to note is Brendan Dillon, the pickup from San Jose. They put a lot of money into him. He ended up playing 17 minutes, which isn't bad, but it was the second lowest on the defense last night. He didn't play all that much in comparison to, surprisingly, Nick Jensen. I don't know why they're playing him so much. Orlov, Chara, Carlson, of course, played more than him. So that'll be something kind of to watch. The reason why I say that is I am not as big of a Brendan Dillon fan as a lot of people. A lot of people think he's a 1-2 guy. I never really saw him that way. To me, he's like Braun when he was a little younger, which isn't bad. But I just don't think he's the second like the second coming of Chara or something like that. Who, by the way, we got to mention that before we move on to the next game. Chara played last night, and he played a whole lot of minutes. How can we talk about that Washington game? 20 minutes for a 43 years old or whatever he is? 43, I think, and he's playing 20 minutes a night and well. I mean, that is unbelievable.
Third highest. Well, he was up there with Jensen played 20, and then Carlson obviously played 23, and then Char was there with 20, and then Orlov played 19, and then Schultz played 15, and Dillon played 17. So all in all, I mean, to start with the Chara in DC now, and the fact that he came out there and had 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's, I think, putting Chara back there. And Samsonov didn't do too bad. I mean, he faced 26 shots. He let 4 of them in, right? So as long as they got Chara back there, okay, who's more of a solidifying type of a player back there for them, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And with what you said, Laviolette allowing them to do a little bit more run and gun, okay, they don't need to depend on Samsonov as much now, okay, which is why they probably got rid of Hopi and all that other stuff. Plus, he wanted a big contract and all that too. But I think Washington is a little bit set up here to potentially have a good run, because exactly with what you said, they had very little turnover this year. They only added a couple, pieces here and there's, but they changed the head coach, and Laviolette, I think, is going to be the one that's going to put these guys over the edge.
Yeah, I think we both agreed that they were going to have a turnaround year this year and have a pretty strong year. I think everybody knows that the window is somewhat closing in Washington, and there's a lot of motivation to get another cup under their belts before they get too old. So,
because time is running away there from Ovechkin.
Yeah, certainly, time is running away a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go over to the GOAT doing a live last night. The game he did a live with, that's John from Off the Wall Hockey. Fantastic work he does over there, commentating for the games, and I like to watch it. I enjoy it a lot. I highly recommend anybody check it out. Bruins versus Devils, interesting little contest last night. Both very injured. Pasternak not playing for Boston. Nico Hischier wasn't playing for New Jersey, and neither was Jesper Bratt, 2 very important guys for their lineup. So a couple of guys got an opportunity last night to play, and New Jersey did make it interesting last night, didn't they?
Boy, right at the end there, didn't they? I mean, who knew? Look, I think with the fact that Chara, this is the first game now without Chara. We just talked about him in Washington.
Yep.
And now this is the beginning of the non-Chara era in Boston, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, do they have this? Who's going to be that guy that's going to step up for them? McAvoy played 25 minutes. You know what I mean? Is he going to be the one that's going to step in there and be that guy?
Yeah.
Is Zabroli going to be that guy? Is he going to be that one? You know what I mean? So this game here was, I was watching this game, and I was kind of going back and forth a little bit on this game because then I was, trying to pay attention what John was saying and stuff too. But I just think that New Jersey, they are one of those other teams that hasn't played since March. You know what I mean? And you're going to see those teams that haven't played for a long time. It's going to take them a couple games to get their legs under them. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, New Jersey, I think they held up pretty well for a while, and then
All things considered.
and then over time, and maybe like you said, that's part of the reason why is they hadn't played in a while. It started to crumble a little bit, but Blackwood played fantastic yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I mean, 37 shots
Mm-hmm.
on Blackwood. So, and that was one of the things that we felt, you know, in all of our pre-prediction shows and all those stuff that we were worried about New Jersey and their goaltending and what was going to happen, you know, with their tandem and everything like that. And he looked good.
Yeah.
He looked really good.
Blackwood looked fantastic. I love him. John, I think we all glowed over him quite a bit. We really,
yeah.
I think, Projo, the professor, tweeted out last night, or at least messaged us about how he called Blackwood, and I was thinking to myself, okay, Joe, I know you're a genius, but we all call Blackwood.
Yeah, right. When it comes to goalies, though. Right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. He knows his goaltenders.
You know, oh boy, I'll tell you what. And then we got our resident goaltender Lance Green on the Hockey Writers Inc. And he even said that he was. You know, we were talking. You know, the other day, and we were talking about him, and he was like, "Yeah," he said, "I don't know how this is going to work," and he said he might turn around to be pretty good. All right, so that's another goalie that you know.
Yeah. So the injuries that Jersey had, I got it up here, was Vatanen, who they signed, I think he's having visa issues. Jesper Bratt and Nico Hischier, not given Nico Hischier and Jesper Bratt. Injuries right now are hard to come to tell you what they are with the whole COVID situation and stuff. But they were out of the they were out of the lineup last night. In which case, it pushed a few people into the lineup. One of them is Ty Smith, a junior guy, played 17 minutes in his first game for the New Jersey Devils. Ty, I know you're watching. Congratulations for coming in and put up huge points in junior. And it just so happens I predicted that Ty Smith would make the Jersey Devils this year. It just so happens. And
just so happens.
Yeah. And so that was really interesting. And then we know Ryan Murray that they picked up from the Columbus Blue Jackets. He played 22 minutes last night. I don't think Ryan Murray's gone 22 minutes without getting injured in his career, let alone playing 22 minutes.
I too was very impressed with Smith stepping in. He had 2 blocks. He had a hit. You know what I mean? He had a goal and an assist in the game. I mean, all right.
Yeah.
2 minutes and 11 seconds in power play time.
Yeah.
Okay. So that says a lot when you put a guy who steps into the lineup like that and instantly put him on the power play and look at the production that he was able to give you with 17 minutes of time.
Scores a goal.
As a D-man.
Scores a goal. His first goal in the league. That's exciting stuff right there. Awesome story there with New Jersey, right?
Yep.
Sorry.
They're going to win a couple games this year. It's going to be tough for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just going to be because of where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just because of the division that they're in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it was interesting watching some. Pavel Zacha got a chance last night. Still didn't look good. Picked 6th overall or 7th overall in 2015. That big deep draft that brought us all kinds of players, and they went on a limb and picked Zacha, and they're probably wishing they didn't pick that limb because he's just not panning out as good as they would hope. One PK Subban played 30 minutes last night, man.
I wasn't impressed.
No?
I mean, I really wasn't impressed.
Okay.
With the way he played. He looked like he was he hasn't played since March.
Yeah.
You know, uh, okay, he had 3 hits and he had a shot on goal, but he just looked a little. I think it's going to take a game or two for these guys to get together.
I think
With only 2 weeks in camp and no preseason games, he
yeah,
just looked a little off. And 30 minutes of ice time, are you kidding?
yeah, Lindy Ruff played him, and you're going to see that with Lindy Ruff. That's another thing. The new coach of the New Jersey Devils, he's going to try to build confidence in this roster, and he's going to give Subban every chance he can to get back to his old self again. And I just have a feeling he might get him, well, maybe not back to it, but close enough to it that it should matter. Because I really like Lindy Ruff. I think Lindy Ruff is fantastic.
For them, for the Devils, that's going to be an interesting mix. You know what I mean? I'm going to be interesting to see how that goes together there in New Jersey.
Yeah. So without Pasternak in there, we had a couple guys be able to. Boston still looked very good. You want to talk about a team that also we talk about systems and, everybody's bought in type systems that Cassidy has put in place. Well, and Julian before him. They've got a lot of steeped history and system understanding there in Boston. And it doesn't seem to change too much who they put in and out of the lineup. When you have something like that, they seem to be able to get her done. Like that's what everybody says about the Boston Bruins is they always seem to be able to get her done. And that's kind of why they can kind of walk away from guys like Krug and Chara and say, we want to see some kids now. And if you're not going to play at this price, then on your way, because we know we're still going to be good if we do that. Nice advantage to have. But I was going to, DeBrusk, Jake DeBrusk is a guy that they're really hoping to bust out of it. I've been talking a lot about Jake DeBrusk the last two, since he was drafted, again in that 2015 draft. And they passed on Barzal and, Kyle and Connor in Winnipeg to take a guy like DeBrusk. And I still didn't see it in him last night. It's like there's just his father, Louis DeBrusk, he played for the Oilers. And he was like an enforcer type guy.
So there's the connection.
Yeah. Yeah, that's his father. And his father kind of had the same sort of look on the ice, except DeBrusk is an offensive player. To me, it's almost like they're just hoping they don't get hurt. You know what I mean? When a guy plays that way, they're apprehensive a little bit, and they just can't seem to get him out. He's got a great shot. He's got good speed. He's got great IQ as far as what to do in the offensive zone. But all of a sudden, he'll just kind of cower off. He's like easily, it's you can spook him pretty quick, you just got to creep up behind him and go boo, and then all of a sudden you don't see Jake DeBrusk for the rest of the game. So it was really, and I was like, I'm really hoping that the kid turns it around. And I watched it last night and I'm like, the same Jake DeBrusk, and he's getting an opportunity with Pasternak being out, right?
Exactly. And that's I think right there is going to be the other thing too for Boston with Pasternak being out. Can guys like DeBrusk step in? Can guys like Nick Ritchie step in? Can they do like a platoon type of thing and fill that hole? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
2 for 5 on the power play, so that doesn't really bode all that terribly well. Of course, again they're going up against New Jersey, so. I think that's what's going to make or break this team is their power play, especially with the guys that they have on their front side and the guys they have on their back side. Tuukka Rask plays the puck really well and has been he looked really, really good. He only faced 22 shots. You know what I mean? So I'm going to be interested to see how Boston flies this year. I'm going to be interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, there's lots of people that are taking them out of the playoffs this year. So,
well, I have them actually making it. just because I think they're going to be that thorn in the side in the East. And I don't think they're going to win the East, but I think they're going to be there. And I'm going to say they're probably going to be one of those teams where you don't want to face them in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, I mean, Boston, you never want to face them in the playoffs for sure. Like, for the reasons we just said, they just have a systematic way of playing that just succeeds. They always seem to find a way. They're one of those. That's why a lot of people are still putting Pittsburgh in this year, because they're that type of team as well. I don't have them in, but I understand what people say about that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying hi to our fans here. Hi, y'all.
Yeah, right. How y'all doing?
When I'm over on my other side here, when I'm looking at the stats, I
Yeah.
can't see everybody. So
I'll tell you what. The other game that I want to get into, because look, we both agree that Boston is either on the cusp of making it or potentially can make it.
right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we both feel that New Jersey,
No,
not going to happen for them this year.
No,
right?
no.
But I'll tell you what. One of the teams that we were talking about were both the New York teams.
Yeah, I was just going to get into that right now, buddy. Good segue.
Yeah.
Nice segue.
Right? You like that?
Yeah.
It's like we're thinking alike.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
I hope you're not thinking like me, dude. You're going to be very disappointed.
No.
You might want to go get that checked out.
No, we're good.
Okay.
But what I wanted to touch on with the New York game is the fact that everybody was keyed on the goalie situation and the Barzal situation. Okay? And this game just kind of didn't really deliver, did it?
Well, yeah. I watched a lot of this game, actually. I was very interested in this game. I had the under on this game, so it worked out really well. But I watched this game, and the New York Rangers really disappointed me. Get flat out. Lafreniere was a big first game for Lafreniere there for the Rangers. I thought he looked fine, but the whole team just didn't have the energy. It was really looked like they looked like they were just like, oh yeah, right, there's a game today. You know what I mean? Like it's unprepared would be and you don't want to go play in the Islanders unprepared. That is one of the last teams that I want to be playing unprepared, and they did. They looked completely unprepared. Okay, Andre, we'll talk. Did you watch a lot of this game?
Yeah, I did, because I wanted to see. I wanted to see Shesterkin. I wanted to see what this New York goalie was going to be taking over for King Henry.
Yeah,
and it just kind of, he looked very shaky, it seemed to me at times, and he seemed a little bit unsure of himself at times. And so it's going to be interesting how he matures throughout this season, because now things are clearly resting on his shoulders.
Right.
And he's not the backup now, and he doesn't have to worry about sitting there watching now. He's the man responsible now.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he faced 33 shots. Okay. And I don't know. He just didn't look like. I was a little bit taken aback by what I saw and how he looked as far as that's concerned. Now, the defense didn't play all that well in front of him either.
Yeah, nobody played well. I didn't see anybody. I gave almost everybody an F in that game that I watched.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, gosh, Lafreniere, 15 minutes of ice time. They put him on the power play. You know what I mean? He's gonna be their guy.
Eventually.
Try.
Yeah.
Eventually, not right this second, obviously, but but he's gonna be their guy. But 15 minutes of ice time. We'll see how that goes for him as the games progress. See if he hits that rookie wall. Maybe he won't, because we're only playing 56 games. I don't know. We'll see how he goes.
I don't know if it's a wall, but I'll tell you what. I'm pretty sure you're not going to see this team play like that again. That was really bad.
Well, they're going to get a chance because guess what? They're going to play the Rangers again.
Yeah, they're going to play the Islanders again. So going against, if you come in off your game against the Islanders, they're going to ruin you. And because they don't, and that's what I wanted to talk about with this game. They don't have. I don't remember too many times I've ever seen the Islanders have a bad game. You know, like they never have a bad game. Things may not go their way or whatever, but there's not really much more consistent of a team than the New York Islanders. So if you're coming in not on your best, they're going to eat you alive. Philadelphia, right? With last year in the playoffs.
First-hand experience on that one. First row seats for that.
Yep, they will take. If you're having an off game, they will take advantage of it. They smell blood and they're all over it. And again, this is one of those teams where it doesn't seem to matter who's in the lineup and who's not.
But they have the team to do that, though.
Sure, but they lost some guys. We know they lost Taves, they lost Boychuk. That's two big guys off their defense. And it seemed like just, okay, we'll just throw this guy in. And, Dobson, awesome. Rookie, played 20 minutes last night.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
yeah, got an assist. Congratulations, Dauber. I know you're listening. We're going to get a cake for you and all that. Send you a Pearls of Wisdom necklace your way. I'm sure you already have one, but here's another one for you anyways. And Andy Green, old Andy Green.
Andy Green.
You were going to mention 16 minutes of ice time. Slips in there and plays solid defense, simple system that they have almost seamlessly, right?
4 blocks on for Green, and he had at least one registered hit. You know what I mean? So, hey, all right. I'm excited about the Islanders this year. I actually have them picked to win the East.
Yeah, I know you do. That's pretty impressive because with the losses, that just.
Yeah, but with signing Barzal, right, and getting him under contract and getting him in, and I actually I think Varlamov is going to be one of those goalies this year. Okay.
Why you started out well, and then that Sorokin kid. Too. We talked about him a lot, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Ate up the KHL the last 3 years, like under 2 save percentage, and crazy.
So they have quite the team moving forward, and they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and they gave Tampa Bay a run for their money.
Yeah.
Okay. And with Barry Trotz as their coach, they play that good simple system, but they come and they work hard every night. Okay, and if they outwork you, they're gonna beat you.
Yeah, well, they're good. Let's put it this way: you're probably not gonna outwork the Islanders.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a question of whether they outwork. It's a question of whether you keep up with their work ethic or get outworked. Pretty much, you're likely not going to outwork the Islanders. That's for sure. That's a very good point, and that just runs again. I mean, Barry Trotz, right? Look what he did with Washington when they won the Cup. They were one of the hardest working teams out there. The Nashville Predators. He brought so many of those teams to the playoffs that had no business being in the playoffs. Like their number one center was Legwand, and they make the playoffs. Like it was really unbelievable. But he puts a work ethic and system in there and has people believing in it, and that's what a coach does.
Yeah. And he took the Capitals to the Cup, and he was 2 games away from making it to the finals last year. That's why I have high hopes for the Islanders this year. I think everybody's bought in. I feel that the Islanders are 1 year ahead of where Philadelphia wants to be.
Yeah, you've said that several times. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that because they've got some of their draft picks that they've gotten the last couple of years are starting to make the team now, and they're starting to, be major contributors to the team moving forward and things like that. And then with the coach and everything like that and how successful they were last year, they have really good goalie tandem. How could you not like this team to be at least in the top couple of pegs there in the East?
Yep, for sure. So let's get over to one that I was actually watching very interested in because I had some, I was very interested in this game. Let's put it that way. The Hurricanes versus the lowly Red Wings.
This was the other game I was watching too. Like I was clicking back and forth between the New Jersey Devils game and this game. So yeah, I actually did watch most of this one.
Yeah, I have some. I have some clients that were interested in this game. Carolina -2, and it went on forever and ever and ever. 1-0. They were out shooting them. And a guy we were just talking about the Islanders that certainly made a name for himself in this game, anyways. And we'll see what he does for the rest of the year. Thomas Greiss.
How about that?
What?
How about that?
Yeah, 40 saves and 42 shots. And
wow.
He was playing on and let me tell you this right now. I watched that game. Detroit was not playing good in front of him at all.
That's putting it mildly.
Oh my gosh, it was horrible.
Peppered from point blank range. It's like Carolina they just skated into the zone, got set up, and then just started peppering him. It was like, okay, are they on they're not on a power play. Oh, okay. They sure look like they were.
Yeah, pretty much the whole game almost.
Pretty much.
They look like they were. I mean, you could just go down the lineup in Detroit and I could talk about how terrible every single person played. This is like, we talked about how, okay, they're going to be a better team this year. A lot of people did. I wasn't really on that wagon. But I'll talk about one guy in particular, and we talked about him when they acquired him, Vladislav Nemeshnikov. They picked him up from Colorado. I think he's moved to like 6 teams now. And after watching him again last night, I can tell why. Oh my gosh, that guy is just mailing it in. He's just taking the money and going, yeah, whatever. I'll be over here. Like, it's terrible to watch that guy. He doesn't seem to care at all. To have a young group like this, and to watch a guy like Nemeshnikov, who is a veteran, not give a crap all game long, hard to watch. Now Bobby Ryan was injured, so they had a couple injuries there.
Yeah.
But
Detroit's also one of those other teams that hasn't played since March.
True, there's that.
You know what I mean? And when you got Filppula as one of your
yeah. Say no more there. Yeah.
Okay, look.
He's a top 2 center on your team.
Yeah. Okay. So, and he only played for 14 minutes. Here's the thing. We know that Detroit is obviously in a rebuild mode, but we also know who their general manager is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so, although they might not be all that good right now, I guarantee you that within the next couple of seasons, you're going to start to see Detroit climbing that ladder.
Well, I would imagine so. They'll be picking up draft picks like crazy. No problems picking up draft picks the way they played last night. Yeah. But let's go. Sorry.
No. I was just going to say, man, I agree with you 100%. This game was going to be a long season for Detroit, I feel.
They got to play better than that, though. I mean, I think the guy you just mentioned there, Stevie Y, who is my man crush of all time. I love Stevie Y.
More than Tortorella.
Tortorella is not my man crush. Barry Trotz is. Tortorella is the best coach in the league and possibly ever. But Barry...
It's more of a man crush than Torts.
Tortorella is not a guy I want to hang out and have coffee with.
Trotz, I'm sorry.
Tortorella is not a guy I want to hang out and have coffee with. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the best coach,
but
period.
Trotz, you would go
I would great guy.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
mean there. He's my
I'll
favorite.
buy the call.
It's sad that my favorite coach I don't consider is the best coach, which tells you how good I like Tortorella because I don't want him to be the best coach, but I can't.
Yeah.
I just can't deny it, you know. So,
Man, I'm torn because I look at Craig Berube
yeah,
and what he's doing in St. Louis.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. We were
And
talking
then
about that yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I look at what Roddy Brindamore is doing in Carolina.
Yeah.
He just seems to be able to put a team out on the ice, and they have that same kind of mentality where if you outwork Carolina or you match their work ethic, then you can beat them. But they just work hard every night.
Yeah, and he's got a solid team as well, and he does it with some, relatively poor goaltending. He props up Mrazek and Reimer pretty good with his system, and that's the sign of a great coach. When you can win with not the best goaltending, that's a sign of a great coach.
Saves.
Yeah, well, that was pretty easy for him to win last night.
It's the Red Wings.
Yeah,
it's the Red Wings.
Yeah,
okay,
but for that in mind, Carolina did shut them down too, though. They did break their spirit. It's not like Carolina was playing very well as well. It's just they couldn't pop the biscuit. Oh my gosh, it was just
Once they did though. Once they did.
Yeah, it was flowing pretty good. But what Hayden Fleury played, I think the most minutes he's ever played last night for Carolina. It's been a long, slow burn for Fleury coming into the league as a top 10 pick. I can't remember exactly where he was picked quite a while ago. I want to say 2014 even. And he's finally getting some minutes and looked fine. Like he looks. 2014. Yeah, he's good. Was he 2014? Yeah. There you go.
Round, 7th overall pick.
7th overall, yeah. And he looked good. He's been a slow progression, but he has progressed. And they're going to have some interesting decisions to make when it comes to expansion. Because Fleury at this point might be the one out. I like to talk. Hamilton looked good. Only got 21 minutes because they were playing against Detroit and they didn't need to work him that hard. But after his broken leg last year, he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good. And Jake Gardiner, only 13 minutes. If there was one thing I got to say, like, he just doesn't look good. Just doesn't look good.
Okay.
But besides that, Nietzsche's looked great. I mean, their team looks good. But we'll see when they get some real competition, because that was not real competition last night.
Not yet. Yeah, not yet.
I was just sorry.
Their next game, though, I believe, is against them. I believe.
Okay. Well, nice start to the season.
Yeah, let me see when the next Carolina game is. It's on Saturday. Is their next game against Carolina?
Well, mark that one on the list because.
No.
Well,
Saturday games.
How fortunate we talked about getting that good start right from the get-go. Well,
how about that?
Take Detroit first 2 games.
Nothing like getting those 4 points right out of the gate.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much in your pocket before you hit the ice. Okay, well, since we were talking about Mr. Tortorella, why don't we head over to that game now? And
You only get 4 minutes. Go.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to talk about him in a great light last night. I watched that game, almost a lot of that game last night, and Columbus did not look good. This was a time when his defensive take the flow away system just looked dead last night. They looked dead. And let me tell you, I had my reservations about Max Domi, and I still do. This is the big thing about Columbus this year is how's that Max Domi. So far, you got Josh Anderson getting 2 goals in Montreal's first game, and Max Domi comes out and looks like a perimeter player who, it did not look good. Look good last night at all. You know who did look good though for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and we were talking about him played over at the K. Drafted by Buffalo. It didn't work out there. Went to the KHL. And Mr. Kekalainen, who I talk a lot about, brilliant guy, scoops up Mr. Grigorenko, and he plays 18 minutes last night. And I don't know, I thought he looked great.
Yeah. This was actually one of the games that I was unable to watch.
Oh, you were unable to watch?
No,
okay. Well,
I got the due to local.
Oh, crappy.
Blackout rules. We are unable to show this game. So I was looking forward to hopefully catching some of this.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see what Nashville was going to look like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Me too. Yeah. I was very interested in that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I already know what Blue Jackets look like. Okay.
Yeah.
And if it would have been for the expanded playoffs last year, they would not have made it.
That's right. Yeah.
So they got a free shot last year, and they played Tampa really well. Okay. But that's kind of where they ended. But I don't really having them in this division now against teams like the Predators. It's going to be a little harder road to hoe for them, I think, this year.
Yeah. I was very interested in how they were going to look too. And at first, they were kind of mesmerized by that Columbus system for a little bit. But as they kept their legs moving a lot. And that's what you got to do against Columbus. You got to keep your legs moving, going, right? And they did. And guys like Eric Hola, who they got from Florida, did play for Carolina for a while. He looked good last night for that reason. He kept his legs moving a lot, and that's the kind of game he plays. He kept his motor running. And Luke Cunnin that they got from Minnesota, who played very poor defensively for Minnesota. I didn't really pay attention too much to how he was defensively. I was going to be able to see over time. But he seemed to click all right in there. He was looking pretty good, which is big for them because that was quite the acquisition for a veteran like Bonino to get a young player like that was kind of falling out of favor for Minnesota. They're putting a lot of hopes on him to play well and do well for this team to give them that kind of depth that we've talked about needed this year with the short schedule and possible a lot of injuries going on and all that sort of thing. And then of course on their defense they brought in Benning. Dante Fabro was already there. Dante Fabro looked stronger last night, which is probably because he's just getting older and he's maturing and he's had all this time to build some muscle on him, which was kind of the issue. He looked stronger. He looked better. And Boriecki from that they picked up from Ottawa didn't look too bad. They had Irwin and I can't remember who the other guy was. That tells you how important he was. Tenorti last year, and they didn't look like they were really NHL defensemen. So this year, their defense core looks a lot stronger, and it looked a lot stronger last night. So from what I was watching, but my highlight from the night was that Columbus did not look good.
Okay. So even with they didn't they pick up Savard?
No, right? Savard they've had for a long time.
Sometimes, okay, but they did pick up Michael Del Zotto, right?
Yes, that was a great one to pick up. Del Zotto, he looked like okay. That's what Del Zotto is a seventh defenseman. He goes out there and tries not to make mistakes and gets off the ice, sort of thing.
For Columbus, right? Mm. And I have to agree. Look, I didn't even get to watch the game, but when I look at the stats on what they did, and I see like a lot of negative numbers, and they each team had over 30 shots on goal, and each team was 0 for on the power play, right? Now, the Predators haven't played since March, right? Well, they're one of the other few teams that haven't played, right?
Yeah.
Right? And now the Blue Jackets, they did play, but they were done early.
Yes.
Right? So they haven't played in a while either, kind of, sort of, really. I mean, unless you make it into, like, the second or third round of the playoffs, it's been a while since you've been out on the ice. You know what I mean? So I might contribute that for both of these teams. Maybe not playing so well, maybe looking a little sloppy coming out, and not playing such a good game here. You know what I mean? And so I think maybe the next game or two we will see for these guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think about when I think about these guys, because if you look at the schedule, their next game. Let me take a look here. Is oh wow! So there's quite a bit of space here between their next game, right? I can't see when their next scheduled game is for when they play again. Yeah, okay, so they play again on the 16th. So they're playing the back to back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So I think this is going to be one of those back and forth. With a couple of days rest, okay, and maybe some practice time, I think you're going to see a bit of a different Blue Jackets team coming out, and we might even see a different Predators team coming out too. Guys might be a little bit more on their skates. The next game might be a little bit better game to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's a Columbus game. How good of a watch is it going to be? Seriously, like, that's the thing. Like, they play that style that isn't the most fun style to watch, like the New Jersey Devils back in the clutch and grab days. But,
oh gosh,
I'm
freaking trap.
Everybody, I think most people going into this game in the back of our minds are going, how's this Dubois situation going to affect this team? And, like Dubois saying he's going to be traded, wants to be traded, apparently, as contract talks didn't work out too well. And now there is some big names out there saying that Montreal is very interested. And by the way, if the rumor was Suzuki going back, no.
I thought he signed. I actually thought he signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah, he did sign a 2-year deal, but he wasn't. Yeah. He was backed into a corner and pretty much had to sign it, and he didn't. He's not happy, and he was a restricted free agent, and he got to talk to a whole lot of teams out there. You know, the grass is always greener. That are fluffing him up and saying, we would pay you this, and you're great, and they're not treating you well, and blah 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 blah. That's what they're going to do, right?
Contract?
Right. That's the thing is, their Columbus Blue Jackets would have made it quite clear, and they made sure when they traded Murray to New Jersey that anything that they would have offered, they would have signed it, right? So then Dubois now is stuck in Columbus because
they have a lot of cap space too, so he could have just said, yeah, whatever you want to offer me, yeah, go ahead.
Right, and now if he really doesn't want to play in Columbus for whatever reason, and Tortorella came out, this isn't a rumor, this is Tortorella. I'll talk about Tortorella a little bit. You give me 4 minutes, so Tortorella.
Gosh, I didn't think you'd actually take all 4 minutes.
I'm not going to take all 4 minutes, but he does a press conference or whatever, he's talking to the press. And he flies it right out there. He tells them everything that's going on. Like, this is just something that doesn't happen, right? You don't talk about people's salaries and, contract problems or anything. He didn't say that. He didn't talk about a contract problem. What he did say was basically, I wish he would be more honest as to why he doesn't want to play for the Columbus Blue Jackets. In other words, he's just not saying. But then he says, it's because of, he basically made it sound like it was because of him, because he didn't want to play because of Torts, of him as a coach, that was the issue that was going on. In so many words, he basically said that. He does this out in the media and tells everybody what's going on, basically almost shaming Dubois, right? And I've said a lot of great things about Tortorella as a coach, and I know he's unorthodox, but I think he messed up here.
I believe he might have slightly stepped a little bit in it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't come out into the public like that and air that kind of dirty laundry out there like that, man, especially the coach. Okay. I'm not a fan of Tortorella. I was never really. I've just said I'll just say I'm not a fan, and I'll leave it at that. But you don't come out and do that to a player who is trying to, do something somewhere else. Because now, what did he do by doing that? Right? He stained it. Right? Because now anybody that looked at that goes, oh, well, the coach came out and said that he wasn't really going to come out and say why he didn't want to play there. Oh, and then it came out that, oh, it's because of the coach. Well, gosh, gee, are you going to walk up to your boss and while you're signing a contract to play with that team for the next 2 years and go, yeah, I really don't like my boss?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, he's not saying the reasons why, obviously, and this is frustrating Tortorella because he wants to know the reason why. What if the reason why is he's not a fan of living in, the mellow town of Columbus, Ohio? He's not going to come out and say that. That's just not. That's not nice.
Yeah, you don't bash the city that you're trying to leave.
Yeah. So to me, in this situation, that Tortorella looks like almost like an insecure brat, to tell you the honest truth. And, I've said a lot of great things about Tortorella because he's unorthodox and he gets the job done and he gets his team. But I think he might have shot himself in the foot here. This may have, we'll see. The next game, we're going to see how they rebound from this because I'll tell you what, I did not see the Columbus team that I normally see last night. So.
How about if we talk about a team that maybe you would like to talk about?
You want
maybe one that's near and dear to your heart.
Maybe. Okay, you want to go there? Okay, we'll talk about that.
Should we go there, or do you want?
Yeah,
let's go there.
Let's go there. You brought it up. We might as well go there. The Oilers and the Canucks last night.
We're flying to Edmonton, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We boarded the Pearlo copter. Please kick back and relax.
Yeah.
We're headed to Edmonton, folks.
Yeah, Melissa's going to give you a nice, safe ride over to Edmonton. And, So.
I feel better.
So the big surprise right out of the get-go, and I actually said they should do this, but I didn't. They did do it, but not for the reasons why I thought. And that was playing Koskinen back-to-back. It's Koskinen in goal again for Edmonton. But apparently it was because Smith was something wrong with Smith, injured or something like that. I don't know, 40-year-old Warrior, maybe he might be banged up all year. I did not agree with that signing. I'm not going to get into it anymore. But I guess they had no other way to go. So anyways, he was injured. And I'm glad he was because I would have rather have seen Koskinen play back-to-back than put Smith in last night against this Vancouver team whom the night before looked on fire. And then came in this game. Honestly, this is going to seem odd. The Oilers are my team as well as the Philadelphia Flyers, and I don't have a 1 and a B. They're both 1 to me. But I didn't watch this game all that much last night, and the reason and mostly it was because the Oilers were getting ahead. I just saw like there was a lot of other games where it was close, and I was just very interested to see. I'd already watched these two teams, and I like to watch the first games of teams to see how they're going to work and gel and all that kind of stuff like that. But, the big story, I guess, besides what I just said, that's not even the big story. It was to me, and will be the big story all year long, was Mr. Mac D, right? Is this guy unbelievable or what?
Jeez, gosh, man. I watched the first game. I got to watch the first game with Vancouver and Edmonton, and Holtby stood on his head that game. And you're right, man. Vancouver just looked on fire.
Yep.
What I saw of this game was the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Was this the same team that just played the night before?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it was the same team. I mean, it actually looked like what they did is they just switched jerseys.
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Because the first game was 5-2. It was the other way around, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now this game, it's the other way. So I think Edmonton is gonna be more of the better team though in this. Okay, and I was quite surprised that, although both teams had over 40 shots on goal, okay, the fact that Connor McDavid was able to get a hat trick against the goalie there, you know what I mean? So, and they didn't have Holtby. They put Demko in.
Yeah.
For second night, you know what I mean? So that's getting peppered, man. That's letting in a lot of goals.
Demko didn't look bad.
But I mean, he let in 5 goals, though.
Yeah, he didn't look bad, though. I don't think you can blame him on a lot of those.
Right.
The Edmonton Oilers were playing the game that's going to win them games. And that is they putting pressure in the offensive zone and getting teams back on their heels. That's the game they got. They have speed. And if they're not using it and they're trying to play anything that looks like a trap game at all, which they have a tendency to fall into, they will lose. They will lose because their overall team is not made for that at all. You don't go get Tyson Barrie to play a trap, you know? That's for sure.
It doesn't seem like that's the kind of player you get for that.
No. And Tyson Barrie
is not the kind of player either that's built for a trap.
No, absolutely not. Speedy guy like that. Ethan Bear and Nurse had the most minutes again last night. They're playing them as their 1-2. Nice. Jones looked pretty good last night. Kukuk still looks solid. Kukuk in the first game actually was one of the guys that stood out as that played well. Larson, I don't think played much better last night than he did the first night. He's looked terrible so far this year for the Oilers. He's going to play if he keeps on playing like this. He's going to play himself out of the lineup. They'll have some of their young guys that are sitting there waiting come in and play. William Lagesson or Bouchard or somebody like that, which I would rather see, to tell you the honest truth. But when McDavid is playing like he was last night, from the red line, when he can take the puck from the red line, find a hole, and the players on the the defensemen on the other team look like when you're playing with your kids.
Like you're watching your kids, it's really cool. Like that's my kid scoring touchdown right there.
Or when you're playing hockey on the street with a bunch of kids and they're waving their stick at you, trying to get it. That's what they look like. They look like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's going to be fun to watch this guy pile them up this year. I don't know what he's going to hit, but it's going to be insane.
Well,
now,
I'll tell you what. Those 3 guys with Yamamoto, Nugent Hopkins, and McDavid for the Oilers. I mean, and Draisaitl, you throw that in too. I mean, that team is just built to just be the run and gun, and I think that's what's gonna. And they played that specific game last night, and look what it did.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. I said that from the beginning. This team's just got to run and gun. Like, don't even bother. Defense, schmefense, whatever. Beat teams, like, seriously, beat teams 9-4 or whatever. I mean, who's going to keep up with you? Who's going to keep up with you? Nugent Hopkins looked like a beast last night. Like, if Nugent Hopkins is playing like that, and you've got Connor McDavid, Draisaitl, Yamamoto, the way what's his name, Cahoon has looked playing along that lineup, playing 5-on-5, adding a little bit of offense on there, just playing a simple game. Pulia Harvey is improving every game, it seems, so far under Tippett. I mean, I picked Vancouver #1 in this division, but after watching that, it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
Those last 2 games, yeah. They looked really good the opening game, and then they just didn't look as good in the second game. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
It was Off the Wall Hockey says Oilers playing 80s hockey. Yes, John. Yeah, buddy. I just replied to him. I want it.
That's how that goes.
And I want it back. So good, Pioneer. Maybe he'll start a trend, and we'll start getting that.
We want to hear it. We want to see those crunching hits again.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
I want to see the boards. I want to see the boards do the wave, right? When you smash somebody up against the boards, and then the top section of the stanchion boards does that wave, right? With the shock wave of when you hit somebody up against the boards, and you see that plastic just flex.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Anyways, it's going to be interesting to see what happens for the rest of that series together with those two teams. I think the next time you see Vancouver, one thing that I did notice is they didn't play physical enough. And that's one way you're going to have to play against the Oilers is you're going to have to slow them down with some physical play. And the Canucks didn't have it last night. So we'll see what happens in continuing with them. They have some guys that can play physical there. But I will say again, Brock Besser looked amazing last night in a losing effort. Yeah. So his shot off
Oilers,
the freaking
37 hits. So you better be strapping it up if you're going to be playing the Oilers, because they're coming.
Once they get their speed going.
37 hits in one game. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, once they get their speed game going, man, they can hit, and that's just the old fashioned, just what do they say? Skate, shoot, hit. That's what hockey's about, right? It's like playing simple. You're not doing one of those 3 things, you're probably not winning. And
so here you go. So Archibald had 2 shots on goal,
7 hits. Yeah.
Right, and 2 blocks. So that's a complete game there as far as I'm concerned.
Now, the guy I said who I'm not fond of, and this is the reason why he's still in the lineup, even when he's not playing the best defense, Larson had 6 hits last night. Yep. Slater Kukuk, who they picked up from Chicago for that reason, to add some more hits to the lineup, had 5 hits, I believe it was. And then you look at Vancouver's defense, and nobody had more than 2, right? Nope. Brock Besser, who I said he had 3, but they weren't hitting last night. Roussel only getting 1 hit. Of course, he had 10 minutes in penalty minutes, but is not good enough. Right. Bo Horvat only having 1 hit is not good enough for that team. They were not hitting last night. They weren't hitting
against Edmonton. Not against Edmonton.
And when Vancouver, you got to be more than that. You're not going to beat the Edmonton Oilers if you're playing passive, for sure. They're kick your butt. Okay, let's get to another game that I wanted to watch more than I did, but I don't know. Are you not able to watch that game too? The Jets and the Flames. Let's get to that.
I was not able to watch any of the Jets and Flames.
Okay. I wanted to watch more than I did. I had some things going on at the time and had another game on. I wish I would have, because it looked like it was a great game. I was
going to say, this was the first, overtime game?
Yeah. It was back and forth. Calgary got up 3-1. Johnny Gaudreau looked good last night from the time I saw, which is going to bode well for the Calgary Flames for him to be back into the saddle again for sure, right?
Exactly.
You know who
And
else?
Line A scored too, right? So that
I
bodes
was
well good for
you
Winnipeg.
read my mind, dude. Pat, Patrick Laine looked fantastic last night from what I saw. He looked like a man possessed. And he had a goal and 3 assists. He had 4 points. I didn't even know that. I was just going from the way I saw him play. He looked like a man possessed last night. Now, if he plays like that for the rest of the year, we said Winnipeg is out of the playoffs, so I'm not so sure now. But we'll see if consistency has been the issue with Lion though, right?
Yeah, yep. And well, look, we know that Winnipeg has a pretty good goalie back there in Hellebuck. I mean,
yeah,
right?
He sure does.
Markstrom for Flames. We were a little bit suspect on the Calgary's tandem back there for goalies. But Markstrom, I mean, he looked all right.
Oh yeah.
I mean, 34 shots on him. He stopped 4 of them. There's one of them there that wasn't, he really had no chance on. But for the most part, he played pretty well.
Yeah, he actually had one save where he came out of the net. I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. He came out of the net.
Yeah.
Then he bobbled it and got out back, and then did one of those like ball hockey saves where you're like totally off your balance and freaking got it. It's already they're already talking about it being the save of the year. Yeah. But another guy I wanted to talk about, because we talked about him quite a bit going in when we talked about Calgary, and that I really love, and that's Rasmus Andersson. He looked like fantastic. He looked like their best defenseman, and he played the most minutes of anybody last night. He played 23 minutes last night, and he looked like their best defenseman. I was saying that he'll likely be their best defenseman in short order, very short order, because he was their best defenseman last night, I'm going to enjoy watching him moving forward. I love his type of game and his determination, and he just seems to get better and better better game after game. And those are guys that can end up being way better than you'd ever expect them to be. And he's looking like he's heading on that trajectory.
Oh, of course, and especially since they've been putting them up there on the top line of the power play too. You know what I mean? So 23 minutes a game, he had an assist, so that gets him a point. And he had 4 blocks and 1 hit. But yeah, they're putting him out there on the power play, so that says a lot about what they think about his game up there on the power play. You know what I mean? Being that on that number 1 power play line. So,
yep.
Calgary going to have an interesting year. It was good to see Gaudreau come out and get that first one. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think he's going to have a phenomenal year in spite of what everybody says and thinks. I just look for him to have a good year.
Deep down, I think so too, actually. Deep down, I think so too. I don't know what was going on there, but
I don't know what's going to happen in Calgary either, but I just look, you can't keep good players down. I don't care how crappy of a team you play on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good players are always going to come to the fore and are always going to shine. And his work ethic and everything else that's going on with him, I think he's one of my. I like him. He's one of my favorite players.
Oh, a little guy like that plays the way he does, you can't help but root for him. And
he's got heart, man.
Oh yeah, and the league is better with Gaudreau playing at the top of his game. It's a better league to watch a kid like that. He's not a kid much anymore, but to watch a guy like that, go around and in and out of traffic areas and friggin', control the play in the offensive zone.
He just get him in a better market.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. He can make that a better market. He can make that. Yeah, he can make that a better market. He can make that a better market. And you got Matthew Tkachuk still there. Talk about hits. 5 hits last night. 5 shots on goal. Gotta love guys like Matthew Tkachuk. Lindholm played center last night too. I wanted to talk about that. looked fantastic, looked really good up the middle. That's going to be huge for that team. They needed another center up there so they could push Backlund down to the third line where he did play last night, looked much better. That's where he needs to be. He's a third line center. So, our projection that Calgary misses the playoffs, who knows? But I still look at their defense and I see Hanifin, Nesterov, Tanev. Not really a big fan. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
It's gonna be interesting to see how things go with Calgary, and especially even with Winnipeg too. I don't have either one of these teams making it this year into the playoffs because of the division that they're in. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And then we still I forget who was out that Sami Niku played for Winnipeg. It was a significant player too, but I can't remember who it was. But anyways, Sami Niku, they gave him like sheltered minutes last night. He's been.
Rittich was out. For Calgary, Rittich was out.
Rittich, well, yeah, they had a different backup, but I was talking about for Winnipeg. I can't remember who it was.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Harskins, Logan Stanley, and Christian
Vesalainen. Yeah, they weren't. They don't have the injuries. That they weren't injured. There was an injured Winnipeg.
Oh, those are just scratches.
They're just scratches, not necessarily injuries. But anyways, it wasn't all that significant. For some reason, I can't remember who it was. It's maybe somebody in the comment section, Mr. John from Off the Wall. You might be able to tell me, or Go Caps can tell me down there. Anyways, okay, so let's move on, shall we?
Where should we go next?
I watched all of these games now because everybody. My lovely wife was in bed now by this time, so I watched a lot of hockey coming up now. All of these games pretty much. So we'll go with let's go with the sexy one. Now let's go with Sharks versus the Coyotes. Let's talk about that one for a bit. You probably didn't get you were going night by this time, right?
Yeah, boy, this is way past my bedtime.
This is past your bedtime now because this is really late for you. This is on really late for you. This wasn't too bad for me, but we talked a lot about these two teams going in. That San Jose was kind of that wild card team that could surprise people, depending on how that top six does. Last night I watched the game, and I'll tell you what, Evander Kane, and there, we know this little issue that he has with his finances or whatever happened there, which I wish didn't get out into the open. Does everybody need to know this sort of thing? I don't need to know, but good for you because he looked absolutely fantastic. If you don't know, it was actual news. It's not a rumor. He had some. I don't even want to talk about it because I don't think anybody should need to know about that stuff. But Evander Kane had 7 shots, came out, played his ass off. Good for you, buddy. You get your name out there in the in a bad light out in the media, and you come in and knock it out of the park. I was freaking loved it. Don't you love it when that happens?
I love when you see a guy who does things the right way and has success. Okay. And I love to see a guy who works hard and but doesn't always get his name out there in the lights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have a hard time with Evander Kane as far as his game and his type of personality and everything like that. I don't. All right, I'm just going to come out and say it. Look, you're a grown man when you come out into this. You're expected to act like one and be like one. Okay? And we all make mistakes, and you can't hold mistakes like that against people. Okay? But some of the things that I've seen make it difficult especially when you look at the attitude that he's had, especially coming out of Winnipeg. Okay? And then the moving around that he's done on some of the other teams. I'm glad to see that he's making good, finally, okay, instead of making bad. So that's what I'll say about that. It's great to see him making good instead of making bad.
Yeah, he was an arrogant kid. Let's face it. He came up in a whatever situation in his life, got a bunch of money, and it went to his head. There's no doubt about it. In Winnipeg, there was not actual what's his name Bufflin, all pretty much came out and said, we got to get rid of this guy. So that tells you something, right? Pretty much came out and said. So then Buffalo picked him up. He goes to Buffalo. We know how great Buffalo's teams have been for however many years. And it comes up to new contract, and he basically says, I don't want to stick around here as well, which is, pretty immature way of going about it too. And then he goes to San Jose, and he's kind of matured a little bit. But
now he's kind of had to.
Well, yeah.
He.
At least we haven't heard much of San Jose. Whatever's been going on in San Jose, nobody's said anything about Evander Kane like they did in Winnipeg, and maybe on his way out of Buffalo. But nothing like that until this whole thing comes up where he has to go bankrupt and all that kind of stuff like that. My point about all that is I don't know why that gets out in the media. Anyways, that's not anybody's business as far as I'm concerned. But whatever's going on in his life there, I just like to see a guy come out. I mean, this and first game back and just let's say, you know what, none of this is bothering me, guys. We're coming out here to win. And
so that's good. Like I said, he's shown a little bit of maturity, and it's nice to see him making good instead of making bad.
That's right, buddy. That's right. Goal and 2 assists, 7 shots. Played, from what I was watching, played with a fire that needs to be played with for a guy like Evander Kane.
I was just going to say, if he actually puts his mind to it.
Oh, gosh.
He has the skill set.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you think he keeps getting chances?
Yeah.
Why do you think he keeps getting to bounce around from other team to team and keeps getting? He has the skill set.
Oh yeah.
Man, dude, if you just grow up a little bit and put your stick down on the ice and strap it up like you did last night, hey, look what happens.
I mean, even with all that, he's put up some decent numbers. 30 goals, and he always plays tough. He always does, always has. You can't really say much about what he puts on the ice, except that it's not always consistent. And if it's if he's like in the partying, gambling and stuff like that, you can see why. Stays up late, that's the when a team comes out off most of the time, when a coach or whatever, especially a coach, comes out and says, we need some more consistency, say like somebody like Virtanen in Vancouver, who we didn't get to talk about. I should have talked about a little bit more. That usually means that they are one of these type of people that like to have a good time, and it takes away from their game. So, and that's been said about Kane from pretty much every coach he's ever had. So, but let's hope he's turning around now. This is a good smack in the face for him, and he goes on a new trajectory, because I really love his game when he's on the ice. We love guys like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, come on. He's scrappy. He's got, a little bit of feistiness to him. He's got a good shot. He knows how to get into the open areas to the ice. You know what I'm saying? So I like his game on the ice. It's just, when you take the uniform off, and that's when we start having problems.
Yeah, exactly. I love his game on the ice. It's like Simmons, like that type of guy. Great guy to have. But
Zimmer is a true consummate professional.
Oh yeah, loved in the room and all that kind of stuff.
Everybody talks about how awesome he is to have in the room.
Yeah.
How much of a great teammate he is to have in the room.
Yeah.
And how you don't want to fight him and you don't want to be up against him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You
absolutely.
want him on your side.
Absolutely.
Why can't we talk about Evander Kane like that?
No, because you can't.
No,
because you can't. Because
he's not that kind of person.
Because you're not going to. That's for sure.
That's right.
So, anyways, we'll get off of Kane for a while, because I don't want to, but it's
like I said, I'm glad to see him doing something good instead of doing something bad.
It was the big story of that game, pretty much, and I'm glad to see that he came out. Let's see where the consistency flies. from here on in with Kane. That's going to be an interesting storyline. Patrick Marleau, 41 years old, played 10 minutes last night. Good for him. Patrick, keep on going, buddy. 41 years old. Are you like me? I'm not one of these guys that say, they should retire already because, they're past their prime. I like the guys where they got to pretty much go out with a, rodeo rope and drag them off the ice. Are you like that?
There's players that look. When you watch a player like, say, when Wayne Gretzky came out and hung it up, okay, you could tell that he was not at the level that he wanted to be.
Okay? Right. Yeah.
So when you have players that are that self-aware, that can come out and say, look, it's time for me to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would much rather a player come to that realization than try to hang on and try to keep getting that past glory, because that just makes you look foolish, in my opinion. Okay? Look, we all get old and time catches everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But are there players out there that are the exception? Yeah. I mean, Dino Ciccarelli played for how long?
Played 42 or something like that.
Right?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
How long did Cam play?
Hey, all you guys out there, tell me when did Dino Ciccarelli retire? I'm gonna get these guys working here.
2000s. He retired in the 2000s.
No, but how old was he when he retired?
Oh yeah.
I'm asking the people listening right now.
Yeah, Chara is how old and still getting it done.
Oh, Chara's in.
How old and still getting it done
in the Czech league. He's 48.
But
48 years old.
That's what I mean.
Crazy.
There's guys out there that are always going to be the exception to the rule. Like look Joe Thornton. Look how old he is, and he's still out there,
right?
And playing at a pretty good level, still getting it done.
Wow, I mean, he's playing at this is the thing. Marlowe's a fourth liner now, right? And people will say, well, he should have retired when he was in his glory, or but I'm not on that. I agree with you. Don't keep on going past where it's uncomfortable. Where everybody, like the elephant in the room, where you're the elephant in the room, where everybody's like, this guy can't play anymore. Should somebody tell him? You know what I mean? Like when you can't play in the league anymore, that's a little different. But if you were a great scorer like Patrick Marleau, and now you're playing on the fourth line, but you can contribute, that's a different story. I love that.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, Ronnie Brindamore was that kind of guy too.
Yeah, he played right till
for 20 years.
He played till there was no more blade on those skates, for sure.
He played until he couldn't skate on the ice anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I love those guys.
Those guys are few and far between. Okay, and then you have guys that when it's time to do it, that's when you need to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I would much rather see a guy look. If you see like Henrik Lundqvist, right? As he got older, he played less and less time, right? But his level of play stayed. The same thing with Marty Brodeur, right? As he got older, because Marty Brodeur played forever. Yeah. As he got older, he didn't play 46, 56 games a season.
Yeah.
But his level of play was still there.
Yeah, it was NHL. He was NHL able. He wasn't what he was, but he was NHL able.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe his last year in St. Louis, maybe you could make some questions whether that was the case. But the fact of the matter is, they got out when they couldn't anymore. And I don't agree with people that think that people need to retire at the top of their game. So they're always remembered that way.
Sanders.
Yeah.
Who wants to pull a Barry Sanders, or who wants to pull a Jim Brown?
Yeah.
I mean, look, but those guys made their decisions, right? And it's their life, their body, their decision, okay? And we have to just live with it. And that's the sad truth of it is, right? Look, do you honestly think that Barry Sanders could have played for another 10 more years and would be at the same level that he
Oh.
was when he retired.
No, of course
Absolutely not.
No.
Could have he have played maybe another 5 more years?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But he would have been getting the ball less, being less of a factor on the team as those 5 years would be going on. And that's the same thing with Jim Brown, you know, whatever. And that's why those guys retired when they did, when they were on top. Okay? So not everybody gets that storybook ending where you get to ride off in the sunset carrying the championship trophy and then retiring that same year like Jerome Bettis did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just don't get that. That just doesn't happen for guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a rare thing to happen for guys. So I'm with you. I want to see a guy play until if he's not able to contribute anymore on an NHL level, and if he still wants to play, then hey, there's the AHL. And if you can't make it to that, then you keep going down into the leagues until you can't play anymore. I mean, that's kind of where – I mean, at least there's spots in hockey where you can still – if you still have some left in the tank, you can still be competitive and still get paid.
Yeah, yeah. And don't get me wrong, I don't bemoan anybody for retiring whenever they feel like it. It's their career. It's just what I like to. I just like the storyline when a player plays right to the bitter end. Talking about players bordering on retirement, we are talking about the Arizona Coyotes here, and Phil Kessel played a hockey game last night. Yeah, he didn't play that bad. He didn't play that bad, actually. I watched him. He played like Phil Kessel plays. And it was kind of interesting. It was interesting. We'll see. I'm really interested to see how his body holds up this year. I mean, this is a guy who's probably, I doubt very much he lifted a weight or anything, because he never has, for however long it was since Arizona last played a game.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how that's working.
I don't know how
he's able to do that and still not. I'm sorry, I got this.
Don't worry about it. It's live, man. We don't.
Yeah.
Things happen.
Sorry about that. I had to ditch that one. So.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's able to play. He's the we talked about this on our last show. I think he's the most out of shape looking hockey player I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But he's in far better shape than I am, because at least he's strapping up and just going out there and skating.
Well, he gets in shape by playing the game, playing hockey.
Okay, well, that's 100 more times better than what I got going on. So more power to you there, buddy.
Yeah. But anyways, that was a much more interesting game than I thought. I will talk about it. It was 3-1, all the way up, 5 minutes left in the game. I had the under on this game, Arizona San Jose. I was doing a video. I turned it back on, and it's an overtime. Arizona scored in the last 2 minutes, and Phil Kessel got the tying goal.
Yeah.
For Arizona, of all people, yeah. Clayton Keller looked really good.
Yeah.
Clayton Keller looked really good for Arizona. Probably the best I've seen him play for quite some time. So that's a bonus. And our buddy, we can talk about him, us Philadelphia Flyers fans. Tyler Pitlick out there playing 16 minutes last night, my friend.
I know. He looked really good. As far as what his stats were. I didn't get to see him. So.
He played like Tyler Pitlick plays. He's out there grinding it.
He's going to miss him.
Yeah, everybody misses them that loses Tyler Pitlick. It's his value is not on the score sheet. He's just a continual motor that keeps running and basically says, everybody keep up to me, And those guys I loved him on it. He played for my two favorite teams. He played for the Oilers and he played for Philadelphia. Yeah. And I loved watching him. When they didn't sign him back, I was very upset. I was like, give him a 5-6 year contract, $1 million a year. Why not?
Well, here's the thing, though. The fact that the Flyers have Patrick and Lindblom back, I think that pretty much spelled the end of Tyler Pitlick.
Yeah, that was in Philadelphia. It was a little different. When he was in Edmonton, we didn't have Philadelphia's lineup.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we could have gave him a 5-year contract for $1 million a year. Yeah, because he was great for young players. Like, keep up. If I'm a coach and I've got Pitlick on my team, I'm like, if you can't keep up with Pitts, you're not going on the ice.
I'm with you.
Simple as that. You want to be a great ambassador for what it means to work hard in a game and play like that. And here, this Armstrong from Arizona who took over for Shaka, which butchered this whole team, and now he's coming in and he sees it right off the get-go. Yeah. And he goes and gets Pitlick and he tells and he's saying, play him 16 minutes a night. I want these young guys to see this guy on the ice for 16 minutes. Because when he's only on for 7 or 8, you can say, yeah, he works hard, but he's only playing for 8 minutes. You know how young people are. Like, yeah, whatever, okay. But you play him for 16 minutes, and I watched him last night. He didn't slow down for 16 minutes. He played. No, he didn't. He played Pitlick 16 minutes.
There you go.
So great acquisition is what I'm trying to say for Arizona, who's basically having no choice but to rebuild here right away, right now. And they're picking up guys like that. So when their young players come in to go in the lineup, you're going to have guys that, you can just say that. You Rick Tocchet, who played like that, right? Can go.
That's a great pickup for them, man. That is a huge pickup for them because what he's going to bring to that team is going to help them so much.
Absolutely, especially where they're going, and I'm happy for him. I hope they sign him to a long contract, and he can finally start getting his roots in some place, and with his family because he's moved around quite a bit. But so more thoughts I had from that game. Chychrun was again, young 24. Was injured a lot last year. He was a beast last night. Beast. This guy is. It's almost unfortunate he has to be in Arizona right now because it's tough. They got Hjalmarsson, Goligoski played his usual game. Their defense is good, but they're all going to be gone next year or possibly re-signed. And Chychrun's going to be there all by himself with Ekman Larsson. And basically they're going through a rebuild. And this is a young guy that I love. And unfortunately, he's just been stuck on a bad team for a long time, and it's too bad.
That stinks. Yeah, that stinks.
A little story as we head out to our next game. Bob Bugner, apparently the coach of the San Jose Sharks, and I've been kind of really watching him, and he's a very interesting character, almost like AV. He reminds me of AV quite a bit in the way he goes about his business. But he sat down with almost everybody in the organization, including the equipment guys and everybody, even office people, everybody, all through the year. He sat down with them. And he had a conversation with them about what it means for their part to change the culture of this organization.
That's what they need.
Yeah, and he's talking about we are champions now.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear anybody talking about how we never won a cup and blah 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 blah. What we haven't done means nothing. It means nothing. Right. The only thing that matters now is we are champions right now and that includes the equipment staff, the office people, everybody. He went to everybody. And now I have a newfound respect and adoration for this fellow. I'm going to really watch this guy because that's fantastic. Another guy I knew that did that, who won a cup and is probably going to go to the Hall of Fame eventually as a coach, is Ken Hitchcock. He was a lot like that. And so I really love that. What a great thing to bring to a team
Can't go wrong with that.
On the off time, not sitting out there going on vacation all the time, although I have no problems with that. No problems going on vacation. But taking some time to really, put it out there that we're going to be champions in this organization. And So I mentioned when we were talking about this, I'm concerned about San Jose. I could see them making it. I could see them. I didn't put them in, but now I heard that, I may have changed my mind. I may have changed my mind.
I'll tell you this much. I will change my mind if after the first, say, 10 games and see where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that's where my big judgment's going to be on almost every single team coming out this year is how do you look after the first 10 games?
Right.
If you're 7-3, okay. If you're 3-7, then problems. Know what I mean? If you're 5-5, you still got a shot. But the reason why I say this is because the first 10 games coming out of the gate, that's 20 points right off. Okay?
Right.
If you lose 3 games in your first 10, that's not going to bode well. You know, if you lose 4 games or 5 games, you know what I mean? Because each game is almost a 4-point swing.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely the first couple are going to be. But you're also going to see the guys that come back from poor starts. It's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
But it's most of them that start poorly are not going to come back, like you said. So okay, let's get over to the Wild and the Kings. And the reason why we want to talk about that, I want to talk about that is, well, there's several reasons, but one very big one, and people are talking about this kid like crazy after last night. I had not watched this guy a lot. I heard a lot about him. And it looks like he is everything that's advertised, and that is Kirill Kaprizov. His 23-year-old rookie came in, and I watched a lot of that game last night. I'll tell the comparison was to Panarin.
Ooh.
Not very far away, my friend, from what I saw last night.
Wow. Panarin, that's a pretty good name to be compared to.
He played lights out last night, buddy. His hands are sick. He made some moves that were pretty crazy last night. Played with a confidence that you don't normally see from a kid coming into the league, even though he is a little older. He was unreal. He played with Benino last night, a defensive guy that allows him maybe to play a little forward. I didn't really even pay much. I was so mesmerized by his stick work. I wasn't even paying attention to his defensive game or anything like that. His hands are unbelievable. And it was a good game. Kings, we were talking about it, that I had, did you put the Kings in?
Yeah.
You did too, right?
I think I did. I can't remember if I did or not. Because I have to go look. I think I have. I know I have Vegas in, but I think I might have the Kings either on the bubble or outside looking in. Yeah,
well, we both had them somewhere around there. I had Minnesota 5th, and I thought it was going to be really close. Well, after seeing that Kaprizov kid, I'm like, whoa, that could turn things around right there. Okay. Are we going 2 hours already?
Oh man, we are at. Let me look. I think we're past.
Holy crap! Wow. I'm having so much fun. You got to take. Okay, well, I'll shorten it up here for the last two then. That Kaprizov kid is amazing. I also I'll talk about the Kings a little bit. The Kings, again, it's that team game they play, and Drew Doughty, what a leader, just a great leader in Drew Doughty. He gets a lot of crap for, I don't know why. He can be snarky sometimes. He speaks in the media a lot. You know what? Drew Doughty hates the opposition when he's on the ice, and that's who doesn't like that. You know, and I
like that.
Exactly.
Down with that.
Yeah. I wanted to do a little bit. Congratulations to Andreas Athanasiou for scoring his first goal for LA. Played 13 minutes last night. Has struggled in Detroit and Edmonton. Actually looked horrible last year, but has come out and looked pretty good for LA. What is it with LA? Seems to be able to pluck these guys, right? So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. It was a good, solid game. Went both ways. I liked both teams the way they played. This is one of those games where neither team really played poorly. Talbot played well.
Did he?
Yeah.
That's what our question mark was with Minnesota, was how was Talbot going to be, because we know that he's not a very consistent goalie, you know what I mean? And so how is that going to go there in Minnesota?
Right. And I'll tell you another guy that played really well as we go over to the Vegas Golden Knights. Jeff Carter played the best I've seen him play in a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
He was
I
playing
know that
fantastic.
name real well.
He played fantastic last night. So we'll go over to the Golden Knights versus the Ducks. I saved them to last because there wasn't much to say. You wouldn't have watched it anyways because it's late.
I couldn't. No, but I couldn't. This was one of the games where I was completely blacked out, so there was no way I could watch it, even if I wanted to.
Right. It was hard to gauge because Anaheim started out well and then just went terrible looking team, just like we thought it was going to be. They looked terrible. So it was hard to gauge how good Vegas played, really, because Anaheim did not play well. So they did what they had to do. They got goals. Gibson kept them in again. Lehner played, not too bad. Big thing was Cody Glass only getting 12 minutes, a young guy that they really, really, really need to play up the middle there. But besides that, there wasn't really much to talk about. That's why I saved it for last, just in case we were running out of time.
They're the next game too. They play each other for the next game too. So I'm looking for it to be even more of a Golden Knights domination here. Golden Knights were one of the teams that we had selected to finish in the playoffs, if not maybe either beating 1 or 2 in the division for the Vegas Golden Knights. So yeah, it's going to be tough to see until they start playing against some better teams. Look, it's going to be interesting to see how Shattenkirk is going to work out there in Anaheim. Okay, I want to see how that's going to work. I want to see how Getzlaf is going to work with all that stuff going on out there too. So it's going to be interesting to see how Anaheim goes, but not looking all that great.
I think Shattenkirk knows what's going to happen, and they know what's going to happen. Shattenkirk was brought in. He was just looking for anybody that was going to give him the max amount of money. Let him play a ton of minutes, which he did. He played like 20-some-odd minutes last night. And then at the trade deadline, he'll move on to a team that's a cup contender.
Or he might be going out to Seattle.
Or maybe Seattle in the offseason. But I think somebody will give him a second-round pick for Shats, probably, and he'll move on. And then maybe Seattle after that. It's hard to say. Well, boys and girls, I guess that's our full 42%. This time has just flown by. This was so incredible. I almost feel, look at my ties all askew. I got so excited today. Look at that. Now it's really askew. Okay. Anyways, I had so much fun. I almost think I might have given 47% today if I had it. It feels like I did, but I know that's impossible since I've only got 42. But sometimes you feel a little better than you are, and I feel amazing. Right. This was amazing. Awesome. This was awesome. Oh, well, I'll be on here tomorrow. I don't know if you will be. Yeah, we're going to be here tomorrow. We're going to be here tomorrow, and what we were supposed to talk about tomorrow's games.
we spent this whole time talking about all the other games.
Yeah. So, we'll have a different. We're going to talk about tomorrow's games, tonight's games tomorrow. And then, we'll try to talk about the other games after that. But we'll have to maybe make this a 4-hour show eventually because we had lots of people watching today. That was fantastic. Everybody, thanks for coming out and watching. I hope you enjoyed this fine program, and we'll be doing it often. SteelFlyers.com, all sports network, my friends. Got to check it out. Also, Steel's got you got a YouTube channel and a Twitter. What's your Twitter, buddy?
Steel Flyers at 52, or it's at Steel Flyers 52.
All right.
On Twitter. Yeah.
All right. And again, I'm sure John will be doing a live tonight for the off the wall hockey. He'll be doing.
What game he's doing tonight?
He might even be on. He might be able to tell me right now. What game are you doing there, John?
Philly game. He's doing the Philly game.
Oh, he's doing Philly again. Okay, that's good. We're Philly fans, so we'll be doing that. We'll be watching that tonight. I might go live doing a game tonight too. We'll see what happens. But
there you go.
That's our full 42. This has been fantastic. We'll be on again tomorrow. Have a great day. Lots of love to ya.